Welcome to the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show, where you'll learn the ins and outs of buying, selling, and investing in real estate. Our 1-hour program airs every Saturday at 11 a.m. and repeats Sundays at noon, and offers new topics and discussion each and every week. Learn how to sell your home for more money and how to be savvy when buying a home. With over 35 years of experience each, let's now join your local experts, Wally and Cindy Kerr, along with your host, Dave McKay, for this week's live show.
Well, welcome. We're back for another edition of the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show on this fine Saturday, just after 11 o'clock. I'm Dave McKay, along with Wally and Cindy Kerr. Hello there.
Hello. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. The show, as always, want to mention, sponsored by two of your trusted partners. It's Best Protect Roofing and Construction, Alan Cook. We've had him on the show a couple of times.
Right.
We always put in the and construction. They do so much more than roofing, but he has some fantastic, let's just go right down to it, technology to where we have these storms that have been going through on a weekly basis.
Right.
And he can pinpoint your area and say, yes, you did get hail. I can come out for a free inspection, so he can check that out. 473-9599. That's Alan Cook. Yes, Cindy.
And you know what? I want to point out on one of our rental properties, he did a lot more than just roofing. We had major hail damage.
Yes.
And he put on a new garage door, some new siding, new windows, new gutters, new downspouts. So a lot more than just roofing.
See, that's the and construction I was talking about.
Absolutely.
Well, and you know what? I'll say hello to Johnny and Carol. Johnny's one of our regular listeners to the show.
Okay.
This last week, Alan put a new roof shingles on Johnny's home and Carol's home. They called a couple of months ago and said, we listened to your show. And so we got a great friendship with them that I know will last a long time. Alan put shingles on their home this past week. It's a home that we're selling in Moore. Sold it in about 5 days. Johnny and Carol did their part and got it in great condition.
Awesome.
Cindy did her virtual staging up. We've sold it for full price. That home was about $360,000. So, Johnny, we appreciate you as a listener, and Alan got that roof on this last week.
Again, that's Alan Cook with Best Protect Roofing and Construction, 473-9599. Also want to mention Chris Doke with Gateway Mortgage. You can call him 7 days a week because he's got his weekend warriors out there.
He does.
He's out there even on Sundays, so he'll be out there today and tomorrow. And his number is 253-2276. We know that rates kind of are, they're close with different mortgage lenders and companies, but he's able to really delve into what your situation is and help you get the lowest rate. And he puts in kind of that 110% to get you the lowest rate for the home that you're looking for.
Yeah, shop for a mortgage and be sure you shop with Chris too.
With that said, what do we have on topic for today, Wally?
Today we're going to talk about some practical ways to lower the cost of your homeowner's insurance. We've talked on the show about how homeowners insurance has been going up. I've got some really interesting facts for our listeners today, so we're going to talk about that. We'll also talk about what you should know about what the Fed sees now, and so we'll delve into that. We've got a surprising topic today, and we'll try to get Chris Doke on the phone here in just a little bit, if that'd be okay.
You bet.
Something he said to me this last week that I think our listeners will find interesting. Dave, is PMI really a curse, or is it a blessing? And we'll talk about that today. And then also, finally, things you should do before you move into a home.
That is all coming up next. As always, we are here Saturdays at 11 a.m., the replay Sundays at noon. You can get all the shows on all the major podcast networks. Of course, go to wallytalkshouses.com, and all of the past shows are there. If you're going out of town on a road trip, load them up all on your phone or your device, and you'll come back a real estate expert ready to
like
work
you,
for Wally
like
and
you,
Cindy.
Dave.
Yes, absolutely. So stick around. We have a great show coming up in 2 minutes.
Could your home sell faster and for more money if it were in better condition? For one reasonable flat fee, we're willing to advance you the money to make needed repairs or improvements when you list your home for sale with us. It's Kerr Team's Get Your Home Ready program, allowing you to sell your home faster and for more money. Call Wally at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty today at 330-3000 to find out more. And remember, if you're selling your home, Wally has the buyers. Call me today at 330-3000.
Best Protect Roofing and Construction has been serving the Oklahoma community since 2017 with trusted professionals and a proven track record. Best Protect Roofing and Construction has the local knowledge to ensure every roofing project is compliant and hassle-free. They offer free roof inspections to assess damage, provide accurate quotes, and recommend the best solution for your home. Call today, 405-473-9599. Best Protect Roofing and Construction.
Finding the right mortgage can be stressful. From knowing which program fits your situation the best to identifying the best terms. Hi, I'm Chris Doke with Gateway Mortgage. I work closely with you every step of the way, from pre-qualification to helping you choose the home loan that's right for you. My promise is to provide transparency, timely communication, personal service, and closings on time. Call me today at 405-253-2276. That's 405-253-2276.
NMLS 984758, Gateway Mortgage, a division of Gateway First Bank. NMLS 7233, Equal Housing Lender.
Would you like to know what your home would sell for today? Get a simple text message with your home's value by texting your address to 330-3000. You'll get no phone call, just a text. Wally has the buyers at Kerr Team Real Estate. Simply text your address to 330-3000.
Do you know of someone planning to sell or buy a home in the near future? You can help them make the best possible decision when you rely on Wally and Cindy's 35 years of real estate expertise in the local market. Sell your home faster and for more money, and make informed decisions when buying or investing by calling 330-3000. Now back to the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show with Wally, Cindy, and your host, Dave McKay.
Before we jump into what we started last week, great things coming to Oklahoma City, you wanted to mention a couple of open houses so people can be out and about this weekend checking out some homes.
Come see us this weekend, Sunday afternoon specifically. We have 4 open houses, Newcastle, Yukon, and a couple in Norman this weekend. So if you listen to our show, first of all, we appreciate you. Hey, thanks for spending your weekend with us.
Yes.
And we hope that you enjoyed the show and what we bring to the table. So come out and meet us. See us in Newcastle over at 2312 Bradford Circle, Sunday afternoon between 2 and 4 on this home that is only about 12 or 13 years old. It's priced at $237,500, and that's a 3-bed, 2-bath, 2-car garage in perfect condition. Also, stop by in Yukon for a brand new listing at Surrey Hills on the golf course. It's 11747 Hackney Lane. Meet Jennifer Wilcox and our team between 1 and 2 only. That's a 1-hour open house, 3,000 feet, a beautiful lot. So many updates on the inside of the property. Dave, 2 primary suites. 2 master bedrooms, if you will.
Nice.
With big closets, a circle drive, a very quiet street located near trees and creeks, but also a balcony off of the upstairs for relaxing outside when it's cool.
Nice.
And just below the balcony, a big covered patio that's all shaded for enjoying the golf course view. It's a very beautiful home, very well taken care of. Just had it freshly painted on the inside where it's nice and bright. It's a beautiful property. Again, that's just 1 to 2 at 11747 Hackney Lane in Yukon. 2 Norman homes this weekend. Go see Kelly Duran at 3124 Old Frisco Road. That home just had a $10,000 price reduction. It's gorgeous. It's like one of these little 2,100 square foot farm homes.
Okay.
Pretty colors, the whites, the grays, the open kitchen, the beautiful countertops, the wood flooring, covered patio. This home is priced at $359,900, 2,017 square feet. That's 2 to 4 on Sunday afternoon. And then finally, come see yours truly at 1200 Southern Hills Circle. This is a home we've had on the market a little longer because it's in that upper price point inside the marketplace. And this home is priced at $849,500. It's had what I believe will be its final price reduction, and if it were any lower, I'd be embarrassed to say it because it's really a steal. This is 5,222 feet.
Oh, wow.
On a 2-acre lot that backs a 9-hole par 3 golf course. The kids can play foot golf. It's 5 bedrooms. It's 4.5 baths. It's absolutely stunning with a pool and spa that overlook the golf course with wrought iron fencing. Again, that's $849,500. And because I didn't mention the price, the Newcastle home was $237,500. And then that home on Hackney, backing up to the Surrey Hills Golf Course, that home's priced at $375,000.
A lot of great opportunities to get out and meet Wally and the team this weekend. Meantime, let's talk about even more stuff to fill our weekends with, because a lot of stuff in the future, developments and things coming to the metro. We talked a little bit last week. We might do this for a couple of weeks because you had the opportunity to talk with a gentleman from, was it like the Convention and Visitors
Yeah, that's
Bureau?
right. With Visit OKC, and came
yes.
to our Rotary Club and pushed up
Yes.
a PowerPoint, and I thought, wow, I thought I was plugged in and knew everything that was going on. Boy, there's some great stuff coming to town. So, Dave, let's give salute to our service people and our veterans first by talking about the first coming attraction in Oklahoma City, and then we'll talk about a little entertainment, okay? So, the Oklahoma City Council approved construction of a commemorative display that's going to feature nautical items from the USS Oklahoma City submarine and the USS Oklahoma City cruiser. And this maritime display is going to be located along the Oklahoma River on the north shore of Wiley Post Park, and it's going to pay great tribute to Pearl Harbor, its survivors and their families, along with just every Oklahoman.
That will be nice.
The pictures are awesome and the renderings, so that's going to be really cool. Another one, Dave, is called Oak, O-A-K.
Okay.
And you've probably seen it going up. It's on Northwest Highway, right over there across from Penn Square Mall. So around 50th, about 50th Street in Pennsylvania, there's a very large complex that looks like it's apartments or lofts that are going in. So on the south side of Northwest Highway. So this is a new type of development. It's going to change the way life is lived and done here in Oklahoma City because it's not only a place to live, but it's an entertainment destination that's on the rise. It will be in 3 phases, and it's going to transform that entire area into entertainment, residential, and retail space.
Okay.
All put together. Kind of sounds like a brick town.
Yes.
A little bit closer to the northwest side.
And you know, one thing I'm really excited about is the Oklahoma City Zoo receiving $71 million in upgrades.
wow.
And there's so much to it. The Oklahoma City Zoo and Botanical Garden is going to get that $71 million of new infrastructure. That'll be through 2028.
Okay.
And there's going to be a sea lion cove. That's a 3-acre expansion for the zoo's California sea lions. And I've actually seen the California sea lions in California. Have you seen those?
100%. Up San Francisco, if you go to Pier 39, very touristy area in
Yes.
Fisherman's Wharf, they are all down by the little docks area.
Amazing.
And I could try to emulate their noises. I'm not going to because I would just sound like a fool. But they are loud and they like
We're
to
need
chat.
help in that department, do you, Dave? So I want you guys to think about that. That's 3 acres just for the sea. Think about how big
That's
3
gonna be
acres
cool.
is.
Yes.
So that's a lot of space dedicated for the sea lions, isn't it?
A fond memory I have of the sea lions in Southern California is one of our old brokers had a beautiful home in Newport Beach in Three Arch Bay, and their shower overlooked the coast with the sea lions underneath. They gave us a tour of the home, and when I saw that shower, I was like, oh my gosh, I would never leave
That's
here.
not a $2,500 house payment, is it, Cindy?
No, but what an amazing setting. But we're going to have some of that here in Oklahoma City, along with a 12-acre conservation preserve and a space for botanical education and events that are going to be known as the farm.
The farm. Let's go down to the farm.
Let's trickle down to the farm.
That is so cool. A lot of great things happening to Oklahoma City now and coming now and into the future. I say now because right down just south of the river is that whole resort area with the water parks and restaurants and shops that's coming down. And that is the Okana.
Yeah, like Okana, I think it's O-K-A-N-A.
Okay, yes,
and
yes.
this is going to be, of course, the champion to Great Wolf Lodge. It's going to be so big. So we've got several other projects. Tune in again next week. We hit 2 last week and 3 this week. And gosh, I think there's 5 or 6 more to talk about.
Oh, fantastic.
Things happening that now makes Oklahoma City, instead of a place to visit, it makes it a destination.
Absolutely. So look forward to that next week. Let's jump right into our first House Talk segment of the day. We've been talking a lot about home affordability, how difficult it's become for the average home buyer. But it's not just for a home buyer. It's becoming more of an issue for homeowners.
Right.
Because they want to try to sell these homes and people trying to get the money to be able to move into them. And perhaps those who bought a home over the last few years as well. Why don't you expound on that a little bit, Wally?
Well, Dave, I did a little research on this over the last week. So NOAA, that's the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, the 2023 billion-dollar weather disaster list included 19 severe storm events across the United States. There were 2 tropical cyclones, 4 floods, one winter weather event, one drought, and one wildfire event. And do you know the total cost of 2023's billion-dollar weather disasters was nearly $93 billion.
Now, that money has to come from somewhere, I think.
Your insurance premiums, I would think.
Yeah. And that was the 9th highest on record.
Wow.
So there have been years, there have been more. Just consequently, you might wonder how much of that was due to severe storms, because we're in one of these states where homeowners insurance is higher because of our storms. There were $54 billion in losses from severe storms last year. So these disasters are increasing, and NOAA's 1980 to 2023 annual inflation adjusted average is $8.5 billion events, but over the last 5 years, the annual average has more than doubled to 20.4 events. So,
wow.
Hey, in a blog post, NOAA said the number and cost of weather and climate disasters are increasing in the U.S. due to a combination of increased exposure. And this is where the insurance comes in. Number one, people have more in assets. Mm-hmm. Their cars are worth more.
Sure.
Their houses are worth more. Everything you own is just worth more money, right?
Who doesn't want to live along the beach in Florida, right? There becomes a little bit of issues with that when hurricane season rolls around, so you can see how insurance would go up. There's places that we love to live, but there's the risk that comes along with it, and a lot of that is a financial risk.
And that's well put, Dave, because that's what NOAA calls vulnerability.
Okay.
How much damage a hazard of given intensity, whether it's wind speed or flood depth, causes in a specific location. So exactly what you said. And then finally, because climate change is increasing, the frequency of some types of extremes that are leading to these billion-dollar disasters.
Yeah, the climate change stuff, I've heard a lot about that, of course, and of course it is causing a lot more flooding in some of the lower plains, the Gulf region. You get a lot of that flooding through there that goes through New Orleans and through Louisiana, Alabama. Again, hurricanes all across the coast of Florida and up through the East Coast as well, and snow events, I imagine. You speak of wildfires. California has a major wildfire every year that rolls through small towns and decimates it, and people's lives are upended because of stuff like that.
It's hard for me to watch. We think about, Cindy and I love animals so much, and I just think about the animals trying to escape for their life. And so those are probably as hard for me to watch as anything else.
In our area, Wally was talking about, gosh, we probably have the highest exposure. I know Florida, like you said, California, but our severe storms are so devastating. Do you know that it's been crazy these last few weeks, hasn't it?
Yes.
And I actually wrote on my horse's fly boots my phone number, because what happens if one of these tornadoes goes through and all the fences are down and now the horses escape? How am I going to get them back?
Yeah, there's really only one question there, and probably our listeners are wondering, what is a fly boot? So maybe you need to give us the Cliff Notes version of that, Cindy.
Yeah, they're just like a mesh boot that is actually loose, and it keeps the horse from stomping their feet because the flies can't fly down the boot. One of my horses is chipped, and so I would be able to get him back just like you microchip a dog.
All of these weather events that have been happening, and I'm harping on like the East Coast, but have I seen more predictions for hurricanes this season coming up?
That's right, Dave. Something like 85% chance of an above normal season.
Oh, wow.
Definitely in the above normal. And NOAA is forecasting a range of, I hate this, 17 to 25 total named storms.
So
that's scary.
Means obviously more destruction coming through, unfortunately.
Climate change, warmer waters, bigger hurricanes.
A lot of insurance claims.
Right.
So the insurance companies have to find a way to recoup that money. So I imagine the cost of insurance is going to be going up. Let's talk about some of the ways that home and maybe even automobile owners can control or reduce the increasing cost of insurance. What do you recommend for our listeners?
I want to start with raising your deductible, but I'm not going to advise just doing that without having reserves to cover your deductible. So you need to think about, if I raise my deductible, it certainly decreases your premium, but do I have the money to pay for it if an event happens? So how about starting a savings account and putting away every month the extra amount of money you're going to need for your deductible. And when you've got that money in savings, then go ahead and call your insurance company. We just raised our deductibles on our rental properties, and it was amazing, the decrease in premiums.
Oh, okay.
So that's one way that you can save.
You could also ask your insurer if you qualify for any discounts, Dave. Like, for instance, older policyholders may qualify for senior discounts, and insurance companies may also offer some discounts for new homeowners as a way to secure new clients. I mean, they're trying to get that recurring business because most people just go in and renew their insurance every year. And so that's another way.
So we had an interesting story about Wally's mom. And the next topic is saving by bundling your insurance policies, where you have your home and car together. Well, Wally's mom has a home and she's 91. She had a car she gave to our son, her grandson, because at 91, she felt like it wasn't prudent to drive anymore.
Sure.
But the problem was, once she gave that car to our son, she found that her homeowner's insurance went up significantly.
Big time.
And we told the insurance company, she doesn't drive anymore. She's 91. And you know what they told us? They said, is there a car you could put in her name? And give us the VIN number.
That's crazy.
And we can bundle it with her house. Well, Wally happens to have his old high school GTO Judge that's in several pieces in the shop that he hopes to someday restore. We went ahead and put that in her name, and the insurance company knew that it is not drivable. That's okay. We gave him the VIN number, and it qualified her for the bundle. And I think that's hilarious. A 91-year-old has a hot rod in her name.
How crazy is that, though, that just alone the house would be more than if you add the card to it, now it drops the price.
Absolutely.
And then off the show, we're going to have to talk about how much it's going to take that judge off your hands.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. I can tell you that. I've got to get that car done. My 50th class reunion is in 5 years. We're doing a 45 this summer.
You need that.
And my goal is at my 50th class
to be able
reunion
to
is to
open
drive
that
up in
shop
that
door
GTO Judge. That's right.
You know, it's something that men love. I have to say, every time we have a couple come over for dinner, of course, horses are my thing, and the ladies usually want to see the barn and the horses. I open that door to that car, which is in pieces, and the men go, wow, and they just gravitate over to it.
Dave, another way is to look for ways to boost your credit score, because a higher credit score can help you score a lower insurance rate and cost with your homeowner's insurance company. So before you renew your policy or apply for a new one, check your credit score and see if you can boost it by making on-time payments, maybe lowering your credit utilization. Okay, when I'm saying that, if you've got a credit card with a $10,000 limit and you're carrying a balance that's $5,000 or more than 50% of your available credit, your credit score goes down because they're thinking that you just like to borrow money and that presents a risk. And then avoid applying for new lines of credit unless it's absolutely necessary. You know, the more you buy, the more credit inquiries, the more debt that you've got, it's typically going to cause your credit score to go down. And insurance absolutely is dependent upon your credit score. The higher the rating, the lower your insurance cost.
And you know, one of the things Wally and I talked about on our way up here is setting up automatic payments for recurring payments that are the same every month. That way they get paid on time every month, and that's going to help your credit score.
So like you're talking about a car payment, Cindy, that doesn't change,
mortgage.
A boat payment, your mortgage. And so setting that up, if it's due on the 1st, hey, why not set that up to pay on the 27th, 3 or 4 days early, and your mortgage company begins to see, wow, these people are paying early every single month, and that probably will lend to a higher credit score also. One of the best ways, of course, Dave, is just, go improve your credit score. And then otherwise, go in and consider hiring a reputable credit repair company or an advisor, dispute items on your behalf that shouldn't be there. You know, if you got low scores due to errors or discrepancies, that's really, really important.
And you know, one other thing is to limit how many claims you file. Save those claims for the important things.
Sure.
You may know a handyman or somebody who can help you with the small things. Save those claims for when you really need them.
Yeah, I think probably something we could talk about is, let's say a hailstorm comes through and drills 13 or 14 or 16 or 20 screens on your property. You can take those to certain hardware stores and get those fixed for $30, $40, $50 each. But to go turn in a really small claim like that, that's a claim on your insurance company. You look a little bit like an ambulance chaser. And like Cindy's saying, is get a handyman that can help with those things. And then reduce your risk. Investing in security features could help you lower your premium by reducing the likelihood that a break-in will happen or minimizing the damage if one does occur. And consider adding more than one layer of security like an alarm system and add security cameras too, so that if an incident does occur, you'll have evidence on hand that can help you get your home back into shape faster. And you can really shop for the cost of monitoring for alarm systems. You can shop that cost and find a company that will do it for lower. Yeah, you may have to pay for monitoring with a security company, but you can get some pretty big discounts with the security system today.
That's what I was thinking, that there are some automatic discounts on your homeowner's insurance. It's kind of a yes or no if you've got it.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, and shop around and take your time and request quotes from different insurance companies. Requesting estimates from several companies will help determine where you can get the best coverage to meet your needs and to fit your budget.
Really good ideas here. A couple of these I haven't thought about. We do have an alarm system and monitoring system, which I think is really good. Have the cameras in the places that it needs to be. So now we have video evidence if something happens. Maybe even
you're watching those porch pirates, aren't you, Dave?
Yes, absolutely.
So, Dave, have you turned into your insurance company? Are you getting that alarm credit on your insurance?
Well,
or does that
I'll have
Kim?
To check out with. That's another question for the boss. So I'll have to check out.
I'll bet she has.
I'll check that out. And of course, other ideas for either boosting your credit score or increasing the amount of your deductible, which I always think is a really good idea, depending on your financial ability to be able to cover some of those smaller annoyances that you need to take care of, as opposed to making those claims that really make sense. Something that really makes sense each and every week is Wally's Weekly Wisdom, which is coming up next. Stay tuned.
Finding the right mortgage can be stressful. From knowing which program fits your situation the best to identifying the best terms. Hi, I'm Chris Doke with Gateway Mortgage. I work closely with you every step of the way, from pre-qualification to helping you choose the home loan that's right for you. My promise is to provide transparency, timely communication, personal service, and closings on time. Call me today at 405-253-2276. That's 405-253-2276.
NMLS 984758. Gateway Mortgage, a division of Gateway First Bank. NMLS 7233. Equal housing lender.
Would you like to know what your home would sell for today? Get a simple text message with your home's value by texting your address to 330-3000. You'll get no phone call, just a text. Wally has the buyers at Kerr Team Real Estate. Simply text your address to 330-3000.
Best Protect Roofing and Construction has been serving the Oklahoma community since 2017 with trusted professionals and a proven track record. Best Protect Roofing and Construction has the local knowledge to ensure every roofing project is compliant and hassle-free. They offer free roof inspections to assess damage, provide accurate quotes, and recommend the best solution for your home. Call today, 405-473-9599. Best Protect Roofing and Construction.
Did you get an offer for your home from Open Door and it was just too low? Find out what your home is really worth in today's market and how much we'd pay for your home. Call Wally at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty at 330-3000 and let's talk. 330-3000.
The Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show is presented every weekend at 11 a.m. on Saturday, and the show repeats Sundays at noon right here on KOKC. Let's get back to the discussions about how to buy right and sell for more with Wally and Cindy, along with Dave McKay.
Well, it's time for Wally's Weekly Wisdom. Wally, what do we have for our listeners this week?
Let's talk about what you should know about what the Fed sees right now.
Okay.
So there have been some things that changed recently. Let's hit those real quick. So unemployment ticked up just a little bit in April to 3.9%. It was 3.8 nationally. Surprisingly, that could be a good thing for the housing market. Now, we've talked about, Cindy and I have said, hey, which one do you want? Do you want lower rates or do you want a job?
Right.
But when the Fed sees unemployment ticking up, that can be a red flag. And along with this, the Consumer Price Index showed only a 0.3% increase in April. That was released last week compared to 0.4 in March. So, Dave, these are the kind of signs that the Fed needs to see to consider lowering rates. But it really makes me wonder if even a 25 basis point decrease would really even have that much of an effect on rates. And I know people want that, but I don't know that it's really going to affect rates the day that happens. Dave, the Fed typically cuts rates only when the economy appears to be weakening and needs help. And I know that some of our listeners are frustrated with current rates, but listen to this. In late 2008, the Fed slashed rates to zero in an unprecedented attempt to help the U.S. economy cope with the fallout from that 2008 global financial crisis. You remember that was a big recessionary period. So 7 years later, not until 2015, the central bank began gingerly raising rates as the economy recovered gradually. So here's what I think is most interesting. The 30-year mortgage rate in the U.S. over the last 30 years, from 1971 actually until 2024, averaged 7.73%, reaching an all-time high of 18.63% in October of 1981.
Can you imagine if we were up at like 15 or 16 right now?
I think we'd have some really mad Americans.
Yes.
Historically, these are not bad rates.
Okay, and then a record low of 2.65% in, when was that, you guys?
2020.
2021.
2021,
We
in
all
January of
remember that.
2021.
Okay.
So it's averaged 7.73% from 1971 to 2024, and our rates today are just over 7%. So the Fed meets this next week on Wednesday. They actually meet Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm going to tell you, they're going to make a decision on rates on Wednesday, and they're going to leave them
What's
the
your
same.
crystal ball prediction?
They'll leave them the same. There's not enough data to indicate that what they've done thus far, that we're ready to do any reductions, but there is a glimpse to the future and some indicators that say that maybe rates will move down sometime in the foreseeable future.
You know, maybe we ought to leave that to the authority to predict, Chris Doke.
That's right. Actually, we've got Chris Doke on hold right now, so let's bring him on just to give us some information I think will surprise some of our listeners, Dave.
So, yes, let's go ahead and bring him on right now. It's Chris Doke with Gateway Mortgage. Chris, how you doing on this Saturday?
Doing great, guys.
Hey, Chris, before we get started today, we just were talking about what I thought the Fed would do this week, and I believe that they're just going to hold rates exactly where they are. And when I say rates, what I mean is the Fed's rate. How do you feel about the decision this coming Wednesday, Chris?
Yeah, I think the same probably, Wally. Obviously, you and I have learned over the last year or two, we're not super good at guessing like most others, but I do think based on the data, it leans towards that. I would agree with you that it seems like it's going to stay steady.
Chris, you told me midweek that you were starting to get even more inquiries, and I thought this would surprise me, and I think it will surprise our listeners, into the rehab options when people are buying rehab loans. So let's talk a little bit about that and how those programs can help buyers who they're fighting hard. They're maybe in that affordable price range. They're trying to find a home they like. The inventory is pretty limited right now. We know that. But some of these homes, Chris, on the market that aren't selling and aren't getting multiple offers, they're just outdated or they need some work. And some of the listeners or their kids or their grandkids or friends maybe are shying away from those because they're concerned about their down payment, their closing costs, and then maybe needing to spend $10,000 or $20,000 or $30,000 to rehab the home on the inside. So they shy away from that, afraid of purchasing that home because they don't have the money. You told me that something different has happened over the last couple of weeks, and share that with our listeners today.
Absolutely, Wally. And I've said for a while, I think this is one of the most underrated solutions for purchasing and or selling is the renovation or rehab loan option. And I just think it's a phenomenal option for folks. And Wally, you and I know some of the best deals out there are those that have vision for what the house can be. And some may have vision and some may not have the collateral to handle it. And that's where a renovation loan can come in. And it's a great solution for folks. And one of the things I was speaking to you about was the ability, whether a borrower is doing an FHA loan or a conventional loan or even a veteran using their VA eligibility, there are those options for a rehab loan with those loan types.
Now, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm not good at swinging a hammer, and I can't cut boards straight, and I don't want to do plumbing and electrical, so I don't need rehab money. I can't do that stuff myself. So how is this going to help me?
Yeah, we would actually prefer you not to do that. For sure.
You've seen some of my handiwork, have you?
Yeah, we want a professional in there that's licensed in the trade that is needed. And those different loan types, Wally, have different restrictions on what can be done. But I'll give you an example for a conventional loan. An amazing amount of structural rehabilitation can occur, pool rehabilitation or utilizing, putting a pool in potentially, moving walls, countertops, etc. In general, though, cosmetic stuff across all three options are a no-brainer. Paint, countertops, that type, carpet, hardwoods, that type of stuff can be done on all of them.
So let's set up an example. I find this home, it's $190,000, but it's $190,000 because it needs $30,000 worth of work. So whether it's stinky flooring, whether it's roof shingles that need to be done, the siding's rotted on the outside. So in a Cliff Notes version, so that we keep our listeners moving here, how does this work?
You would go get just a few bids for those things that need to be done. You'd give me those bids that total $30,000, the carpet, countertops, etc., paint, and we would take your contract for $190 and the bids of $30, and we'd provide that to an appraiser and say, please appraise what the value will be, and the hope would be that it would be $220 plus. After the renovations, they would give us an after improved value appraisal, and you'd close on the house. Depending on the loan program, you could get a loan. If those come back at 220, you could get a loan on a VA for 100%, conventional 97%, FHA 96.5% of that total. And we would close. We'd pay the seller off, the realtors, everybody gets paid off, and then we'd hold back that amount for the renovation. And as the work is done, we would compensate the contractor for that.
Okay, so I just get the contractor to come over, and they finish the work, and they hand an invoice, and I come back to the mortgage company like you, and you pay that bill. Is that right?
We pay the bill. We get the appraiser out there to say, hey, all the work is complete that they said was going to be completed. We get the final inspection, and we've already closed. But we would then tie the bow and provide the loan to Fannie Mae, Ginnie Mae, whoever the holder of it is.
Okay, so I probably would have to bring an appraiser out, and they would have to agree that what I wanted to do would increase the value of the home and would be a good use of that rehab money. Is that correct?
That's exactly right. And obviously there's some things that are dollar for dollar in that, and there's some that don't. Putting a pool in is not going to get all the value out of that, right? So there's definitely some that won't provide that.
You know what I like about these rehab loans, Chris, is appraisers typically will return, kitchens and bathrooms bring 100%, right? So if you want to go in and remodel kitchens and bathrooms and just don't like the way they are, that's a great candidate for one of these rehab loans.
That's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Well, if you have more questions for Chris Doke with Gateway Mortgage, or you are just in the market and looking at homes and you want to see what rates are available, we can call you 7 days a week because you have your weekend warriors available on the weekends. Chris, I'm even going to help you out here. 405-253-2276. Did I get your number right?
That's 100% correct. I appreciate it, Dave.
Chris, you got those $5. I know you got a soccer tournament you're working with, so thanks for taking the time to be on with us today, and go team.
Thanks. Appreciate it, guys.
Well, talking with Chris Doke, always great suggestions, great programs for buyers to get into homes, and this was a real interesting one today. That was really cool about
Could help a lot of people.
Absolutely. So with purchasing a home, some people may not have the wherewithal to put down 20%, 30% down on a home. So that's where, if I'm right, PMI, and that's that mortgage insurance,
that's right,
comes into play, right? So could that be a bummer, or is that a blessing where PMI comes into play with purchasing a home, I should say?
Well, first of all, Dave, PMI is private mortgage insurance, and that's on a conventional loan. Now, FHA loans have something similar. You kind of reverse those letters, and it's MIP, which is a mortgage insurance premium. Good memory from you, the radio guy. You pulled a lot of knowledge here from what we've been talking about together over the last 18 months, right?
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
So, Dave, PMI protects your lender or mortgage insurance, so MIP or PMI, depending on whether you're doing conventional or FHA. It protects your lender in case you default. But if you make a 20% down payment, you don't have to pay mortgage insurance, but if you put down less than, your lender requires you to pay a monthly premium for this. And here's how it works. I mean, the lenders, the way they see it, they're taking on a bigger risk with you if you put down less than 20%. So you're buying them insurance that covers the lender in case you don't make the payments on your house. Right, Cindy?
That's right. And, this is an interesting topic because I always thought of PMI as just a bummer. But it can be a blessing because it does allow you to get into homeownership. And it does two things. It allows you to get into homeownership without 20% down. And it also allows you to get into some appreciation and really start to utilize that leverage of money and appreciation. You know, if you had $1 million home and you only put 5% down, that's just $50,000. But that $1 million home is appreciating the whole amount.
Sure.
And so that's the leverage you're talking about. So it's really something that in a way is a blessing.
Yeah, you and I talked about that, Cindy. You go put $1 million into CDs and they're going to pay you 3 or 4 or 5 or 6%. But what if you're in a hot market like Los Angeles, where maybe housing values are going up 7 to 15% per year? We have a good friend named Jim who has a real estate company in San Diego, and he's always said, you go buy a $100,000 CD, it's going to cost you $100,000 to do it. You can buy a $100,000 home and you can do it with a $5,000 down payment. So the 20% down's tough. On a $100,000 home, that's $20,000 in liquid cash, plus the money you're going to need for closing costs and other expenses. Maybe it's furnishing the home. Maybe you're going to have to replace the furnace or the water heater or the AC unit that breaks down after you buy it. And some home buyers, Dave, they just don't have access to that much cash. So you can put down less, like 5 or 10% down, utilize the PMI to make home ownership possible, borrow more, and of course, the thing we would really recommend is that you budget carefully.
That's right.
Don't just rely on leveraging everything and getting yourself in trouble.
Sure.
It lets you leverage your money. PMI is the fee you pay to keep your money in the bank. That's the easiest way to put it. You're putting down less, you're keeping your money in the bank.
But you know what's interesting, Wally, is that supposes that you actually have that money. So if somebody is stretched to the limit, they're only putting 5% down, that could be a problem.
We just don't want to see people wipe out their retirement or their emergency savings. So PMI can allow you to put down, again, less than 20%. But like you say, Dave, get into home ownership.
Yeah, I see that as the purchase price goes up, so does the down payment. This gets right back to the affordability issue that we continue to discuss here. So, hey, let's just take a moment, talk about the FHA, and you said it's MIP. Same letters, just kind of rearranged a little bit, right? How does that differ from PMI again?
Well, it's different because with an FHA loan, that's a government-insured loan as opposed to on a conventional loan, it's a private carrier. So that's why conventional calls it private mortgage insurance, but the FHA calls it MIP because it's a mortgage insurance premium. And Dave, that's part of your monthly house payment, and that was reduced 12 to 18 months ago to be far more affordable for home buyers so that they could afford to buy a home. Remember that FHA loans are available to any home buyer, regardless of how many times you've bought, with a sales price as high as $515,000 with only a 3.5% down payment required.
Wow. And
any FHA loan does require some upfront mortgage insurance, which is 1.75% of the purchase price. So on a $100,000 purchase, there's going to be $1,750 upfront. $200,000 would be twice that. That's added to the loan amount, and then just over 0.5% per year to be paid as a part of the monthly payment. So as an example, on a $300,000 loan amount, a borrower today is going to pay about $137 per month as a part of your monthly payment, and that's the monthly mortgage insurance.
So on a $300,000 house, for the additional price, like you mentioned, of $135 to $140 a month, they're able to keep back maybe $10,000 in the bank, $15,000 in the bank that they might need for whatever's coming their way with new jobs or a baby or anything like that. So it's a small price to pay for having a rather large amount of money, which could be anything. It could be $10,000. It could be $50,000 to have that at a moment's notice in a bank account for you.
I agree.
Great information here once again. Stick around. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Things you should do before you move in. Next.
Hey, it's Wally. Don't forget that I'll sell your home guaranteed at a price agreeable to you or buy it myself for more than most investors will pay. To get my guarantee in writing, call or text me today at your home sold guaranteed realty at 330-3000. 330-3000.
Best Protect Roofing and Construction has been serving the Oklahoma community since 2017 with trusted professionals and a proven track record. Best Protect Roofing and Construction has the local knowledge to ensure every roofing project is compliant and hassle-free. They offer free roof inspections to assess damage, provide accurate quotes, and recommend the best solution for your your home. Call today, 405-473-9599. Best Protect Roofing and Construction.
Could your home sell faster and for more money if it were in better condition? For one reasonable flat fee, we're willing to advance you the money to make needed repairs or improvements when you list your home for sale with us. It's Kerr Team's Get Your Home Ready program, allowing you to sell your home faster and for more money. Call Wally at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty today at 330-3000 to find out more. And remember, if you're selling your home, Wally has the buyers. Call me today at 330-3000.
Finding the right mortgage can be stressful, from knowing which program fits your situation the best to identifying the best terms. Hi, I'm Chris Doke with Gateway Mortgage. I work closely with you every step of the way, from pre-qualification to helping you choose the home loan that's right for you. My promise is to provide transparency, timely communication, personal service, and closings on time. Call me today at 405-253-2276. That's 405-253-2276.
NMLS 984758. Gateway Mortgage, a division of Gateway First Bank. NMLS 7233, Equal Housing Lender.
Do you know of someone planning to sell or buy a home in the near future? You can help them make the best possible decision when you rely on Wally and Cindy's 35 years of real estate expertise in the local market. Sell your home faster and for more money, and make informed decisions when buying or investing by calling 330-3000. Now back to the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show with Wally, Cindy, and your host, Dave McKay.
Before we get into wrapping up the show, let's do another quick house talk segment. And things you should do before you move in. Is this kind of a punch list, if you will?
It is.
Okay.
It is. So, when you're moving, there's a lot to think about, right?
Yes.
A lot on your plate. You're trying to work. You're trying to take care of the kids, maybe, grandkids. Now you're moving. So, number one on my list today, change the locks. Tumble the locks and keep the door hardware if you want to, but change the locks. It's not that expensive. If you're really handy, it may be cheaper to change them yourself and save some money. I just would never trust a seller saying, we've never handed out any keys and no one has our keys. So don't forget to tumble those locks and change the keys.
And the next thing on our list may work for some people. Do the major renovations first, like paint and flooring. And that would be great to do if you could stay in your present home and close and then have the money for your new home and not move into it for a few days while you paint and put in floor coverings. Now, it's always kind of a dance trying to figure out the money and the closing and all that, but that's something we can negotiate sometimes for you. It sure would be nice to get that done before you're painting around all your furniture.
Yeah, maybe you're doing this rehab loan. Maybe you're buying someone's home that's older and you're doing a rehab and you want to paint and carpet, but you're selling your home. And you may be able to negotiate, like Cindy said, to be able to stay a little bit longer in your current home so you can close on the new one and get those things done.
Especially now, if you've got a home you're selling that's really in demand, your buyer may be willing to let you do that because of the current market and the lack of inventory. Another one is order an energy audit. Wally, tell us about this.
So, Dave, you should have this done when you're doing your home inspections, but order an energy audit.
Okay.
Now, OG&E for a long time did those at no cost because they're trying to figure out ways to not have to go build more expensive power grids, right? So when homes begin saving money in energy, it helps the utility companies. It could be things like finding out that weather stripping or new windows or more insulation in your attic. It could be that your air conditioner unit is not running efficiently. Maybe putting in LED light bulbs. There's a lot of things that can be done. Getting an energy audit may just be finding an energy company, an independent contractor that will come in and do that for you. These energy audits can be a way to where you move in, you've got that taken care of, do the improvements before you get all your items inside, negotiate for that to be done. Maybe you ask the seller to fix the things that came up on inspection repairs, and you say, by the way, Mr. Seller, a couple of days before closing, I've hired a handyman to come in and caulk the windows and do these items and add some insulation. Would that be okay if we do that so that my utility bills will be lower?
You've done a little bit of work here, and a lot of people have been going in and out of the house. What about cleaning? When's the best time to clean the home?
That is a very good point, and a deep clean, hiring somebody, because once all the furniture is out, it's not going to look as great as it did. And so hiring somebody to come in right before you move in to do a deep clean so that you can move in on fresh, clean carpets, flooring, bathtub, sinks. It looks great.
Okay, Dave, let's see how quickly you can give me a straight answer on this. How long ago did you replace the batteries in your carbon monoxide detectors and smoke detectors?
It's probably about 3 months ago.
Okay,
Yay.
good. So
Okay.
test or replace those, but what I recommend is just replace them altogether. When you're buying a home, you have no idea how old the batteries are.
Sure.
You ever been at home at night when the smoke detectors start to scream?
That's
because
the worst.
it always happens at 2 a.m., right?
Yes.
So
Or it starts going beep, beep, beep.
you know, and those batteries typically will last 5 to 8 to 10 years.
Yes.
So I would just recommend take all the carbon monoxide detectors, take the smoke detectors out, get rid of them, and start fresh
They're
and
all
put new units in.
staggered to go off every 3 months, 2 o'clock in the morning. Who has to get up and go get the ladder and go change it out?
Dave, to keep that insurance cost down, like we talked about earlier, have a wireless or a smart alarm system and hopefully cameras installed before the installer has to start climbing your furniture
Oh, yes.
after you've
Yes.
moved into a home. Maybe they have to put in window contacts. Maybe it's just where those cameras are going to go.
Sure.
And investing in a home warranty program, we always talk about Murphy moving into your back bedroom. Something's going to happen. But think about the home you're buying. Is it an older home where things could be going wrong? We bought an investment home once that as soon as we closed, there were roots in the sewer line, and we had to replace that sewer line. Dishwashers can go out. Even a newer home, air conditioners don't last forever. And this is so important for VA buyers and first-time buyers because, like we said, they're not loaded with funds. They
Sure.
put a minimum amount or zero down, so they don't have a big slush fund. So a home warranty can give you that protection.
And there are some VA buyers that may have a lot of cash, but for the most part, most veterans enjoy coming in and being able to buy a home on their GI Bill with no down
And
payment.
they've earned that, and I applaud them for their service to our country.
100%.
As we wrap up the show, you usually mention a little bit kind of what the markets are doing, your commentary and analysis on the local market. Take a moment. Tell us what you've seen over the last week.
So, Dave, mortgage rates have bounced back into the 7s. Now, somebody with really good credit and income can probably get into the 6s. And we can already see an impact in that immediate sales are slowing down. And we see new pending sales, so under contract slowing down. And now we're beginning to see a few more price reductions. Now, this is data that I read nationally this last week. But I think a lot of it holds true here locally, too. I think the most notable thing in the data recently is that while home prices nationally are still holding a few percent higher than they were last year, that home prices have started to decline in a few states, not here necessarily, but it does bear watching. So as far as the analysis that sales are slower and that price reductions are up, I agree here in our metro area, especially as summer begins to wind down in a couple of months. I'm seeing it in our market with just about 10% of the current listings on the MLS have had a price reduction over the last 30 days.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
it is telltale that buyers would like to see rates lower, but there are still fewer people listing for sale. But because there are fewer buyers and the inventory is actually now at its highest point for all of 2024,
Wow.
you want to be careful where you price. If you're a buyer, there may be some opportunities. And next week, Dave, we're going to hop in and talk about investing again because I'm beginning to see the inventory increase at some pretty affordable price points, and it might be a time to buy your first or your second or your third investment property to build some generational wealth for your family and for your kids and grandkids down the road.
Well, we look forward to that. Want to thank our trusted partners once again, Alan Cook with Best Protect Roofing and Construction.
That's right.
And
Emphasis.
Chris Doke with Gateway Mortgage, who joined us today. If you are listening today, Saturdays when we do the show live, you can join us tomorrow if you missed the show at noon on Sundays. Of course, go to WallyTalksHouses.com. You get all the past shows there, and then you can search all the podcast networks. We're all over the place. We're worldwide.
Well,
Wally.
not yet, but we hope so. And Dave, I just want to again emphasize that we love doing the show with you. Cindy and I love working with people, and we would consider it an honor and a privilege to work with you or your family or your friends. So please have them give us a call anytime, even right after the show today at 330-3000. I'd be glad to take your call and understand more about what your needs are and how we can help.
Have a fantastic weekend.
You too.
This has been the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show with Wally and Cindy Kerr. Heard every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. and replayed on Sundays at noon right here on 1520 a.m. and 95.3 FM KOKC. Selling or buying a home is a major decision in life, and you can place your trust in Wally and Cindy as local experts with over 35 years of real estate experience. Call or text them today at 330-3000 to request a personal visit or consultation. And be sure to visit WallyTalksHouses.com to access the library of shows and topics available for download.